Welcome back to another episode of the Top 6. Man United secure a deal with Barcelona for Frenkie de Jong. Personal terms and the ultimate decision, according to Laurie Whitwell, still to come. But what way is this going to go? There does appear to be a geographical divide. The majority of UK journalists think it's the deferred wages that are holding this up. A lot of the press in Spain think he's going to say no. We're going to delve into that story in a lot more detail here for you. Plus, Antony to Liverpool is now being discussed and spoken about. Arsenal looking at Zinchenko after being rejected by Lisandro Martinez. We're also going to take a look at the Kimpembe situation with Chelsea and Todd B's European tour, plus much, much more. We've got a brilliant panel tonight, backed by popular demand. George is here repping Tottenham Hotspur. Colleen's in the house. Tom Little's here. Daniel's back. Same curtain with the fade going on. I'm liking the faded background. It's looking great. And making his debut on the football terrace, Kaz is here with us as well. How are you all doing?
Good, man. Good. I'm glad to see this carpet curtain back again. I've missed seeing it.
Colleen's just missed seeing me. You can say that, you know. You don't have to. You have to hide behind the curtain.
In fairness, she messages me regularly. She's like, "Oh, is Daniel on? Is Daniel on? Is Daniel on?" All the time. Where's Daniel? Where's Daniel?
Colleen's my favorite anyway. So
good. Hi to everybody in the chat. I hope you're doing well. Do us a favor and let us know where you are watching from around the world. Lots to talk about tonight. Lots going on with all of our teams. Jed Spence, and the news had just broke as well. That's advancing. It's been a real long one, that, considering it's not a massive transfer fee, but Jed Spence to Tottenham, Liverpool's transfer window, Arsenal going for new targets after being rejected, and much more. But no better place to start than, of course, we might touch on Lisandro in a bit when we get towards the Arsenal bit, but the Frenkie de Jong situation has kind of gone the way we expected. Man United's total offer now of 85 million euros has been accepted by Barcelona. They've increased the initial fixed fee by 10 million euros. Most people think that's to try to broker a kind of compromise with this deferred wages that's owed to the player. But there is a split. Will the player say yes? Will the player say no to Manchester United and stay? What are we saying, people?
I can't help but think of frankly too long when you just said backstage. I can't lie. That's all I can think about.
Well,
I'm gonna go for.
You're a Man United fan. Go first. Where's your head at with this deal, brother?
I'm being patient. I've said time and time over again on streams, wherever it is. So I pick up Monts. Obviously, you man must know Monts on Big Six Bants and also Fourth and whatnot. Just be patient with it, because at the end of the day, why are we still in for the deal? It wouldn't make no sense, Tell. So, like, what I'm trying to get at is, like, just be patient. Wait, maybe not going to get it done this week, next week. It's just going to happen. Otherwise, why would two executives go over and still we haven't pulled out? It's Barcelona. They're actually war criminals. Let me tell you that for a fact, yeah? These men, I've never known a club to hold up the transfer market how Barcelona have. 75% of that market is probably down to them. How they not been sanctioned? I'm just gobsmacked. It's not right, personally.
I hear you on that. Someone's got WhatsApp open. Could you close it down in the background for us, please? It's just coming through on the stream. I hear you on that. I've been very, very patient with this as well. A lot of people haven't. And there's been a lot of banter from Man United fans. It's taking too long. We should walk away. We shouldn't be signing him. He doesn't want to come here. All the bitterness has been coming out. What are you saying, George? Do you think... whose side are you on with this? The British journalists saying that this deal is going to get done. You've had the likes of James Robson, very well connected at Manchester United, saying that they think they can get this done very, very quickly now. You've got Jack Talbot here who said that this is going to complete. But then there is the Spanish media that are saying he's going to say no, he's going to stay and not take a pay cut. What way do you see this going, mate?
No, I personally, look, as much as I've loved to have a laugh at United taking so long on this deal. Sorry, just give me a second.
As that little one's coming in the room, yeah, not a problem. Colin, what about yourself? Like, you've seen all the banter towards Man United fans, but do you feel like United are going to have the last laugh here?
I mean, you can look at it on two sides. At the end of the day, if Ten Hag gets the man that he wants and he's able to utilize him the way he wants to, then it's good business, no matter how long it takes. But from a fan perspective, and watching the whole saga play out. And it's always with United, you know, whoever their main target is, it's always got to be a big song and dance. It's always got to take forever. But the main point is if that's what Ten Hag wants, and he's a priority as it seems, if it takes that long, you've got to bring him in. Maybe I need some educating. Maybe I'm missing something. So maybe someone can educate me. I don't understand the whole concept that is Barcelona. I do not understand this modern Barcelona. I don't know how they're making signings. They don't have money to pay his way. Like, this whole saga is a mess. And of course, United would be the ones to be in the middle of it.
Yeah, I think in terms of Barca, they're at a point where if you actually look at the wages they're offering Lewandowski, Jules Koundé, and Bernardo Silva, I saw a Barca fan break this down. Collectively, they'll be getting paid the same amount as Frenkie de Jong will be getting paid next year. So his salary, especially because he deferred it during lockdown, he now moves on to an £18 million a year salary for the next 4 years. What they're essentially, the problem they've got, well, they've got all this new money coming in at Barca. There's a new rule in La Liga, which means only 70% of your income can be spent on salary. If Frankie stays on that money and doesn't lower his wages, which he said no to, they essentially can't sign and register some of these new players that they're looking at. So although they've done the deal for Rafinha and all these things are done, there's still a lot of murmurings coming out of Spain that these players haven't been officially registered yet because they can't. So you're right to be confused, because it's a lot of people are like, and that's why Frankie de Jong's camp are annoyed, because they're like, hang on, so you're affording all these new players, but you can't afford to pay us our money, which I think, which is just crazy in itself. But Jules, sorry, you had to shoot off for a second there. What are you saying, bro?
Yeah, sorry about that. So yeah, no, look, I think personally, I do think the deal's going to get done. Barca don't want him. They've made it very clear that he's not wanted there. They've replaced him already with Kessie. So he's in a position where he can fight for the money, like you guys have said, but I think he's going to end up, he's going to give up in the end, because it's a losing battle. He's going to want to play football at the end of the day. He's got the opportunity to go to Man United, to play under his old coach, and he's still going to be getting a fairly decent wage at Man United. So I think the deal's going to go through as long as it has taken. It is going to be a very good signing, a bit of a hefty fee, considering it's taken so long. I think Barcelona should have dropped the price a bit, but I suppose you got it done in the end, and I think it will be done within the next few days or so. We expect it to happen.
Well, that's what they're suggesting, that it's going to be 2 completed deals this week for Man United in Lisandro Martinez and him, about £109 million in total, which is not bad. What do any of you think it could still go wrong, though? Do any of you think he's going to say no? Does anybody think that? Or realistically?
No, of course, though. Like, there's always a chance. Obviously, again, I'm not a United fan, so I couldn't care less. But
yes, you do. Yes, you do. You care. Who do you support? Who do you support?
Chelsea, mate. Chelsea.
Yeah, you definitely care. You man, all you man care. You want this. You want us to fail. We've been in the mud for so long. You man are hoping this still fails.
No,
I'm not having it. Yes, you do, bro. I'm not trying to hear that. Nah, man. You man, all you man. That's why you're all smiling right now. And do you
know what the issue is? The lifelong issue of the United fan is main character syndrome. Like, no one cares anymore. We don't care. We actually don't. Everyone buys players. Arsenal bought Gabriel Jesus. Arsenal are buying players left, right, and centre. Chelsea are buying players. Tottenham are even flipping buying players. Tottenham are buying experience, buying young players. Everyone can buy players now. No one cares about no one cares anymore. So obviously the main character syndrome, you can have it, but look, it's been 10 years now. We don't care anymore. Like, United are perfect. You're part of the rest now. You're part of the crew. Like,
is it?
After splashing the cash in secondary school, you now want to chill with all the man them, and we're like chill.
You think? I'm not gonna. I can agree to that extent, yeah. But you know what? This just reminds me of: hated, adored, but never ignored. That's what it is. We're always gonna be the main character, bro. And it don't matter if we're 6th, 5th, 7th, 10th. We're always gonna be the main character. How about that?
And that's so good that you believe that. And that is
no, but it's all right though. But I can be reasonable in it. I hear a lot of your points, but you man definitely want us to still fail. We're even getting banned by Tottenham, bro. Do you know how
wait, Kaz, I think you're getting this wrong. That what you need to understand is no one's afraid of them anymore. So no one cares.
We know that.
We know. Look, me, Daniel, we're worried about top 4. We're worried about what Liverpool, Man City doing.
Bro, why do you care about being in the top 4? You're getting knocked out of the Champions League ASAP anyways, bro. Nah, what? You get one little Champions League in how many years, yeah? And you think you're gonna do bits?
Hey, looking straight down at you, bro.
That's nice. But after we smacked you 3-0 and everything, they're still looking down. Allow it, man. You lot in the Tottenham respectfully doing very well though.
The point I wanted to make, though, is that, look, with the Frenkie de Jong situation, it's like any other player. it's principle for him. He just wants to get his money, and I think he should want to get his money. I think it's a bit like, why should I leave all that money on the table and make a move when I'm not particularly like desperate to leave? Obviously, the banter's there in it, and everyone's done it, and everyone's gonna do it for me, so I don't need to join in on that. Like, the banter is there, like, oh, you're forcing him to sign. I don't even think it's about that. I don't think he's desperate to leave. However, if Barcelona pay him his money and then they agree the fee and whatnot, he will go to Man United, and he's more than happy to play for his former coach, innit? I just think that we've seen deals like this where things can be agreed, and then like, look at Rafinha, for example. Obviously, he was hell-bent on moving to Barcelona, and although it was different circumstances with the Chelsea deal, I still think there was a scenario there where if Barcelona weren't able to register him, Chelsea would have been able to sign him. Do you know what I mean? It's the same in this situation where I think if Barcelona are able to give him the wages, he'll sign for Man United. If they aren't, I think he will stay. Do you know what I mean? So I don't think it's necessarily
We're going to move on to the Kimpembe deal a little bit later, but some of the reports coming out today are, well, he actually wants to stay at PSG, but it's PSG that want to sell him. Now, of course, he isn't owed 17 million euros to hold up this deal, but that's the thing. The banter's fine. George and we were chatting in the group chat earlier. Like, the banter doesn't bother me for a little while, but it's when I start seeing, like, I saw a professional football intermediary today say that United should walk away no matter what. He doesn't want to. He doesn't want to leave, so there's no point signing him. And I'm like, that's when banter goes too far. And I asked him privately, like, do you really mean that? He's like, yeah, it's ridiculous that anybody would sign him. I'm like, so based on that logic, De Jong has to retire? I mean, I can take the banter, but people are like going so far with it now. It's unbelievable. But look, I think it will happen. I think it will happen. I've said it for weeks now. I just can't imagine United going this far, this deep, this level of negotiations, and Ten Hag that knows him personally, the agent who has 3 players already at our club. There's no way we go this far without the agent saying he'll sign if you get the deal agreed and the wages get kind of sorted out. And that's why I made a $5,000 charity bet. If everything was accepted and the deferred wages were out the way, I think he'll say yes. He's not an idiot. So it's going to be interesting to see the way this kind of goes. Obviously, Lisandro Martinez is through the door now as well. Like, I know everyone's waiting for the here we go. We don't need a goddamn here we go. They left him out of training today. He's a Man United player. He's going to be one of our new centre-backs. How good, Kaz, do you think Man United's transfer window has been so far in terms of the players that have come in, plus with the 2 or 3 more we're looking at? Are you excited about the way it could go this season, or do you still think a lot more is needed, or are you underwhelmed? Like, where's your head at with Man United's transfer window?
You just put about 10, 15 different thoughts on my head with all of that. You know what it is? I am excited. There's no Man United fan cannot say after that Liverpool game, yes, that you got smashed in. I'm going to take that because, let's face it, other way round, it's either... Look. Let me just address this real quick, yeah? We saw some football, and it wasn't the greatest, but it was something, innit? And it's something we haven't seen since probably Louis van Gaal, and he got 4th choice players. At the end of the day, I am excited, yeah. I see Marcel Dink over Alisson. Where's he getting them cool vibes from? I'm sorry, yeah. Like, it's either them or us at the end of Terry, right? 3 years ago, we was in LA. We lost. Shaqiri scored in his debut in pre-season. Who got it? Man United or Liverpool? Liverpool fans were doing the exact same thing, so I'm going to give it the same back. But it is exciting for me. But reality is with the transfers, we got to remember, this Man United board has not changed that much significantly. We don't know a lot of information about them. I wouldn't be surprised if we end up with 3 signings only for this whole window. I'm not joking. It's that reality that I have to put myself towards. Like, yeah, it's great being optimistic. We were probably all optimistic when we saw Ronaldo. Then we got brought back down to level. Then you're like, oh damn, Ollie's actually still in charge. This is going to be a mess. So at the same time, it's nice. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to this season. Very optimistic, but I'm going to be realistic, man. It's probably going to get a lot worse than it before it gets better. And that's just me being realistic now as a fan. But on the same side, if we beat Liverpool 3rd game in, I'm going to scream we're winning the league more than anybody, just to get on their nerves.
Patrick's here watching. He said, Man United fans are shameless. First talking about Spurs and now celebrating a pre-season win against Liverpool's D team / youngsters.
So why the first team? Why did the first team not score against us then, Terry? Well, our second team, they went on 1-0 then. All right,
Listen,
cool.
everyone knows this about me. I don't take preseason seriously in terms of results. But what I did laugh at is I've watched preseasons where we've looked really poor in games, and it's like, oh my god, look how bad United are. We look good, and it was just like rubbish. It was like, doesn't matter. Listen, when you're the biggest team in the country, the most famous team in the country, the team that has put all of you through pain in your lives. Of course, people are going to bask in the glory now when we're not very good. And I think that's expected. You get what I mean? You've got to think about this as well. And Spurs fans, I will speak about Spurs for a minute. I like Spurs. My dad's a Spurs fan. I said this to his face a few times as well. This has been the best era your club's had since Bill Nicholson. And it's been our worst era in 50 years. We've still won 3 more trophies than you. Like, that's the levels and the difference between our two football clubs. Like,
I thought we were talking about off camera.
I love that.
Dead banter.
Guy, keep talking. Keep talking.
Terry, come on, bro. You're talking about having a better era, about 1950s. We don't care about all of that.
Well, when you last won a trophy.
Of
Well,
course,
yeah.
of
950.
course you care about it. You know,
Oh,
the reason I know you all care about it, like, I don't even believe Dan when everyone's, we don't care about United. If you didn't care about us, you wouldn't banter us. I never banter Tottenham other than on the days they lose games. You know why? Because it's irrelevant. You finishing in front of us doesn't bother me. Who you sign doesn't bother me. Because if we get it right with who we recruit, we will overtake you and be in front of you. It's not a problem. You're like also runs. I'm not worried about Tottenham ever in my life. Even if
can you really say that though, Terry?
Yeah.
I'm not worried about Tottenham. I'm worried about Conte. I can't lie.
What I mean is that if Spurs win the league, I feel zero emotion. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't worry me. It's why everybody wants Man City to win the league over Liverpool, over Chelsea, over whoever else is challenging, because no one really cares. Like, so that's my point. Everyone cares.
If you really want to like dive deeper into it, it's not necessarily about caring about the team. It's the people you know. If you think about it, like it's the people. Because really and truly, I would say that there was a point in my life where I didn't know a lot of Liverpool fans till I started doing the content creation team, and then having a lot of friends who are Liverpool fans, and then I don't want them to win. Like, I never actually was bothered by Liverpool like doing things for themselves. But yeah, I get what you're saying, man. I get what you're saying. But the question I did have though is that obviously, yeah, you're excited, recruitment, da-di-da-di-da. Maybe you're going through like a different line in terms of your recruitment, where you're trying to build a team and the identity of the manager. Do you think that so far, and this is including if Frenkie de Jong gets completed as well, there's an over-reliance maybe on replicating Ajax? Like, with the signings, it's everyone he's used to and has had before is coached, and they're coming into the Premier League. And obviously they know what he expects. Training's going to be a walk in the park for them because they know what the manager demands. But obviously, as we know, the Premier League is so different when the whistle's blowing.
I think it's a really good question. And I think that there's a lot of managers that haven't done what he's looking to do. And then you've had people like Jose in his whole career has taken some players to 2 or 3 clubs. Like, some managers like to do that. Antonio Conte is an example. You know, quite a number of Italian-based players and, you know, players he's managed in the past. He's tried to get to the football club. So all managers do this. I think that the unique thing here with Man United is this: we are in the pits as a team on the field of play. We're in the gutter, and he has to, although he's got time in this rebuild, he has to get us playing well early. I don't think he can kind of wait to like go out there, recruit different types of players, bring them in, take longer gelling them together. He's even targeting 2 or 3 players that he wanted to buy when he was at Ajax. That is his style of football. That is how he wants to play. So it makes sense to buy players that come from that ilk and from that background, if that makes sense. So it's not really a concern for me. My bigger worry is longer term with Man United, and do we stay the course? You spend 5 years with him. I don't want the next manager to be an Antonio Conte. That's with no respect to Conte, but it's a completely different style and brand of football. It would mean that everything you've built is then going to be ripped down again. That's the bigger concern for me. But overall, like, I'm quite happy. I'm quite happy with the window. To be fair, like, we've signed some really good players. So who knew after coming 6th and being crap?
Don't you think that there's one issue that's pressing though, and that is the upfront issue, the attack problem? Like, you haven't
There's nothing wrong with that attack, I don't think, though, man.
You say there's nothing wrong, but it's very clear to see that you have a lot of moving parts. There's in a lot of players that have been good at one point, but right now, none of them have looked good over the past year. None of them look like they're going to be finding form So you need to either bring someone in, or you're going to be relying on the same rubbish that hasn't worked out for you in the past.
I've got to disagree with you there, man, because you know what it is? We've had Oli, Ragnick. Before that was who? Mourinho. These guys are not even... Let's not even get started on that stuff yet. I get it. I think Rashford is a confidence player. That's someone that you could definitely have your 50-50 on. I do hope he becomes good, obviously, again, and starts firing. But at the same time, it's my biggest worry isn't about Man United. We had no attacking styles or attacking plays or anything under Ragnick because he didn't even have his collection of players, you could say, for in his defense. And at the same time, Ollie's Ollie. So Ollie Arteta. But what's it called? I had to get that one in there.
Yeah.
Anyways, like I just feel like it's not Man United's biggest concern. Our biggest concern is the defense. We can't even, like your first form of defense is attack is pretty much from the back from your goalkeeper. Do you got what I mean? The whole style to getting forward, pressing up the pitch, that gives the attack a lot more leeway. We don't have that. We have Wan-Bissaka. He can't even. Bro, that touch is ridiculous. You get Alex Telles. That guy's not a Premier League player. Respectfully, probably out of him and Tavares, I can't work out who's the worst left back in the league. But at the same time, I get it. We're targeting a lot of Ajax players. We're targeting a lot of people in the Dutch league. But he's trying to build a foundation first. And you can have to respect that. He's gonna have to get people he trusts first in the foundation. But it'd be nice to get linked to some other players that are not from the Dutch league.
Well, I mean, the first player we went for was Darwin Núñez, and Liverpool blew us out the water for him. So we have done that. I mean, literally the first player we tried to sign is of that ilk. What I would say is this, though. United fans, don't be drawn in. We were never fixing every hole and problem in this club to be able to play Ten Hag's brand of football year one. Jurgen Klopp didn't have all these players year one, year two. Arteta didn't have all these players year one, year two. It takes time. If we were a team that was... If this was the manager taking over from Fergie's 2013 winning team, then yeah, there's 2 or 3 holes you've got to fix. You go and fix them. New midfielders predominantly we needed back then, and you go on and you expect them to continue challenging. But this is a unique scenario, and Man United fans have not got to allow themselves to be like double bantered here. Worst place the club's been in 30 years, but then allow themselves to be drawn into expecting the club to bounce back and be challenging for a title next year. I had an Arsenal fan saying to me last night, but you haven't addressed this hole and this problem and the other one. This is the same Arsenal fan that has continually said, I won't judge Arteta until his squad's fully built, and that takes 3 years. So it's like, it's fine to say that as a rival, but United fans, grow a backbone and some thicker skin and stop being drawn out by nonsense. Because it's, like I said before, it's average banter at best, you know what I mean? It's one of them ones. We've got some super chats here before we move on to talk a little bit of Arsenal, and I'm intrigued to know what everyone thinks about this. But guys, okay, I'll go to these ones that actually make a bit more sense. Barca are signing Koundé, Lewandowski, Rafinha, Kesse, Andreas Christensen. Want to keep Frenkie de Jong, Dembele. If this happens, this Barca squad will be better than what Pep had.
Where are they getting this money? Where are they getting this money? They just have to sell it like all the team.
Tom, it's not about the money. How is that better than? I'm sorry, than Pep's. Stop. I'm sorry. Stop. Zayn, I love you. Xavi, Iniesta, Pillow, Alves. Sorry, I can't even speak. I'm speechless. Akash says still no United fans can say with chest that after all the signings, they'll finish top 4. In my opinion, Arsenal signing Paqueta is more significant than De Jong. I got bored of that saga last. I know why you got bored of it, Akash, because you know it's happening. You're like, oh no. Paqueta's a great signing if Arsenal bring him in. There's no doubt. And I don't think any Man United fan can say with chest they're going to make top 4. And that's because we know we're in a really bad place. But thank you for the super chat. Chelsea are finishing 10th this season. Fair enough. Like, you see what I said about like banning certain words from like banter, like saying like Chelsea or manure, like people that call Man United manure. It's like, come on now, we're not 6 years old. Joshua here says, to Tottenham fan trying to talk to United, you guys got a world-class manager with Harry Kane, and you chumps didn't even believe you can win a cup. But George can. George, you think you're winning the league, don't you?
No, I've never said that. Though I hate when people attach these crazy statements to my name. I said that we're going to.
He said it on our stream. He said on our stream. He said they win the league. I can back this up.
What do you think you're winning next year? What do you think you're winning next year?
We're going to win a trophy. I don't think it's going to be a league or Champions League. It'll be one of the domestic trophies, but definitely not league or Champions League. It's a bit too early.
So on the record, you're saying you're winning either the FA Cup or the Carabao Cup.
That's what I expect.
It's respectable though. Respectable.
You expect a domestic cup win.
See where these men come off their high
Manchester
horses from.
City haven't won one. Manchester City have just won a full year without winning one. Pep Guardiola's already going through withdrawal in these cups, and you're expecting Mr. Harry Kane, who's never been fit for a final anyway, to rock up and upset him in his own backyard. The Carabao Cup's his competition. You're not winning that.
George, though, I like it. I like it. It's about time Tottenham fans started setting proper expectations. This bridesmaid mentality that Spurs have had all these years. Like, I'm just happy to be in the final. I'm just happy to be in the competition. Like, I don't like it. It's elite level sport. You've got the money to win. You're a super rich club. You should be expecting trophies.
I agree.
And you've got a World Cup 110%. Like, I'm bantering it, but it's good to see. Man United, aka the Premier League Ajax. The irony is, that's coming from a City fan. You do realize Ajax are more famous and more successful than City in their history. Like, being called Ajax is not an embarrassment. The Eredivisie, people realize if the Eredivisie had money like the Prem and La Liga, do people realize how good Ajax would be? Like, they are a superpower, or they're not a superpower anymore. That's the wrong phrase for it. They have such a legendary status in the game. It's unbelievable. Like, there are Premier League clubs who like talk about being one of the biggest clubs in the world that haven't even sniffed the success that Ajax have had. But thank you for the super chat. Thank you, Terry. That's exactly what I said on the United stand. You don't get everything you need in life. It takes time. Of course, Rome was not built in a day, but that's me being positive with the spin. So I apologize. Interesting comment here, and I haven't verified this. I'm not challenging you, Evans, but he says that Barca are prepared to leave Frenkie de Jong out of their preseason tour. And Joe, it's funny, like, Tom, what we were talking about this on the stream the other day, and I've been asking this question of the tier ones. They never reply to my tweets. I never know why. I'm like, so the player's refusing to leave and not take a pay cut. What's the ramification? And what do you mean ramification? So are Barca going to do this where they start? Because this is the point. If the word is they're going to ban him from the tour and sit him in the stands if he doesn't sign a new deal or leave, then he's going to leave, isn't he? Because he ain't going to do that. Where if they're just going to go, it's okay, mate, we love you, I think he'd stay. So,
No,
I mean,
but
they out of preseason. What does that mean?
No, but Terry, there's two sides to it, though. The first thing is when you're asking that question about the ramifications, they don't know, because everything right now with the Barcelona situation is very like as it happens. So you only know when it happens. Do you know what I mean? Like, we didn't think they'd be able to register Rafinha, Kessie, Christensen, and they're still finding creative ways of doing it. They probably sacked everyone in their content creation team, especially considering the video that Dembele and all the rest have done, and hired them and put all of them in the accounting department, because the way they've been able to creatively just manipulate the funds and the figures and sign all these guys is crazy. So I think, look, no one knows what's going to happen with De Jong. I just don't see this situation because you're still paying the guy. Like, so are you going to pay a guy on this amount of wage to sit out? Like, I don't think they do that. So.
Well, I think they're threatening it. I mean, this is the full. This is taken from an extract from speaking on Barcelona radio. Frenkie de Jong, it says, suggesting the club has told the player he has to leave. This is a decision, and the exit is a necessity to register Kessie and Christensen. The club have already communicated to the player, who are aware that. Who they have told. I love how these things translate. The player has been told that he's fighting against a rock. Barca has to transfer him despite of his reluctancy, and he will have to accept. He could even be left out of the preseason tour if he refuses to leave. And I do get your point. It can still go either way, but that's the kind of report I was looking for around what are Barca going to do if he refuses. Like, I think that's a fair question to ask. But there we go, people. That's the update as far as it's concerned. I want to speak Spurs quickly, actually, before we move on to Arsenal, because there's talk of Jed Spence now completing, and there's a lot of talk of, it's been kind of an up and down deal for you guys, George. Do you think that will complete your summer spending if Jed Spence comes in? Is that it now,
No.
or will be more still?
No, there'll definitely be more. I think that deal's just been one that Daniel Levy's been handling. So just like has been with Man United, it's going to take long. Any deal he's involved in, it's going to be 3-4 weeks going back and forth. And it's been over 2 to 3 million in add-ons. It's not been over anything crazy. So not too sure why it's taken so long. Good signing. I think we're definitely going to go out for more. It's going to be going out for more opportunities, though. I don't think we've got any targets in mind apart from James Maddison that we're going out for and really want. But we are still looking at signing another creative midfielder, slash a player that can play in the forward line and have a centre back. So still 2 to 3 more to income. We're going to be having still quite heavily involved in this summer, and you're going to see a whole new look Tottenham next year, man.
Listen, I mean, there's a player that I saw linked to Tottenham, Jules Koundé. I know that Barca want him, but Chelsea are going in another direction now. What are you saying, Dan, about Kimpembe?
Look, let me break it down, because there are people on the internet that like to lie. I saw, and obviously he's my friend, so I can say this. Yeah, I saw him say that Max Kilman and Salisu, and you mentioned some other names, and I was just like, this is a French international. This is someone who's played in the Champions League year in, year out. This is someone who there's a stigma that apparently he has a bozo gene, or he makes high profile errors. That's far from the truth, and you can actually go and look at the stats. It's because he's aggressive in nature. It's the same thing with Rudiger, in terms of apparently these guys have got a mistake in them, but he's someone who's played at the top level, played in a Champions League final, played in the latter stages of the biggest competitions in world football. So I just think it's a bit boring, and you'll probably see his quality when he arrives. Like, I saw someone say that he wouldn't be able, if you swapped him out with Max Kilman, he wouldn't stand out in that Wolves team. And I just think statements like that show how much people watch of someone. And I'd say, like, look, at the end of the day, on average, it's not even to diss anyone, but I can guarantee you didn't watch 8 full, or even 5. I'd say 5 full Kimpembe games last year, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's actually 24 hours in a day. We watch the Premier League, and it's very difficult to watch other leagues. Kimpembe is someone that I've been able to follow for a long time. And the fact that he's also, again, if you want to, what's it called? The argument I always use to, like, kind of rebuttal a lot of fans who get onto the back five and say the back five is a tax and it means you're not that good and it gives you the security. If we're bringing in someone of that ilk, someone with that experience, into a back three system, surely it means we're going to be even more defensively solid. Doesn't it mean that? So I just think you have to really pick and choose, like, how you're going to criticize the player. But Kimpembe is a quality signing, and he'll be a good player to go into a back three, especially considering we'll have Thiago Silva and Koulibaly in that back line. So, yeah.
When he arrives, yeah. No, you said when he. You said when he arrives. So you're telling us as a collective he's coming.
I don't know anything. I don't know.
Okay.
Sorry.
You know what killed me about that though, Daniel? You sat there going, "Oh yeah, well he's played the highest level." You know, people can question the bozo gene because I've seen a lot of Kimpembe mistakes. And your counter argument to that was he's played at the highest level. I watched Dejan Lovren get an assist in a Champions League final. That man had a bozo gene in him. Like, just because they play at a high level doesn't mean they're prone.
Tell me a centre-back who doesn't have a bozo gene.
No, but it's more the way that it happens with Kimpembe. I think the way Koulibaly, Thiago Silva, and Kimpembe is just asking for problems. Koulibaly, yes, although he's a great centre-back, he has a lot of bozo in him as well. He's played in a much slower league in the Serie A where you can read the game, and he still gets skinned quite often.
Tell me a centre-back who doesn't get
it's a serious signing. If they get him, it's serious.
No. I'm not saying it's a bad signing, but Kimpembe...
One sec, George. We just watched the best centre-back in the world get skinned and get memed for literally the whole of summer because of the way he is in his nonchalant defending, and it's been numerous times over the course of the season. Tom can agree. We've literally spoken about Van Dijk this season, about how he's been so lackadaisical and relaxed. Yeah, there have been moments. AC Milan in the group stages. There was a game.
He didn't play against AC Milan. He didn't play either game.
Don't you remember the game at Anfield where he dropped off? It was Inter Milan, sorry. Lautaro Martinez. It was Inter Milan, sorry.
Hold on, I'm not having that one against him. It's a screamer from Martinez. I'm not expecting him to step out and tackle him.
You know what? Wait, Daniel, you know why you're reaching already? Because VVD's just come back from a massive injury. We all know that. So if he's had a slow season,
massive injuries was stopping him from closing down defenders.
No. It's understandable for him to have a season not as good as the one before. But Kimpembe, Kimpembe's had a few seasons where not bad, no one's gonna say that, but they're not been as good as what he was 3 to 4 years ago, closer to 2018 when the World Cup.
I
was on.
disagree. I
When the
disagree.
World Cup-
He'll be amazing signing for them, but I don't think you're going to get him. I feel like his agent knows that Chelsea needs centre backs. Let me get a better contract using their name. Simple as that. I think you're getting Ake, but that's just that's it for me. I don't think you're going to get Kimpembe. I don't think them superstar back three would even work. I know Kimpembe, Koulibaly. I don't think he's a back three defender anyways. And Thiago Silva. I reckon you man go to a back four next year, but. Nah, man, it don't make sense. It's Arsenal.
What I find funny though is like, for example, you look at the Kimpembe situation. Look, everyone's gonna have their opinions, and what I always say is that when we go into these debates, I'm not going into the debate to try and change anyone's mind because everyone has their mind set on a particular player and what they're coming in for. If we went out and spent the money on the lit, what would have been the narrative? We're spending 80 million on the Dutch Maguire. He's slow. He's going to come into the Premier League. Every single player that we bring into the league is going to come from a slower league and is not going to be able to adapt and is not going to be able to do this. Kulusevski was actually not even rated in Serie A. He was someone who was supposed to come to the Premier League and flop and not do well.
Yeah, but it was a bad Juventus side, though, to be fair, man.
No, but
to give him credit.
No, but that even
I don't think you want to mention Kulusevski because that's just one of the players that have skinned.
No, but that stresses the point. Kulusevski invented it.
Salah being another one at Roma.
Yeah,
See that
no,
clip?
literally. So my thing is like we're always going to criticize these players, but I'm here to tell you that if Kimpembe comes to the Premier League, especially with his pace, his strength, his ability in the air, and the experience that he has, he will be a good signing in the Premier League.
Will he be better than Langley next season?
No, Langley's he's a bum, bro.
What's Langley doing in this debate? Hold on.
I'm not saying I rate him.
Kimpembe. I'm not having this debate.
Times 10, the defender Langley is.
You just got Eric Dyer on the left side, bro. What's the point? But I think it's decent though. It's better than Davies. You got a bit of cover there, but
I want to ask a question here, people, because like Chelsea have been getting dogs abuse all summer. You know that all they're doing is trying to hijack other people's deals. We had Roy on the last show tell us that he has better talent ID and with the budget can pick better players than Thomas Tuchel. Rivals, and look, I'll talk about Terrace people. Gal, one of the pieces of furniture at the football terrace, basically laughing at Chelsea that they're not going after the right people, bad talent. Are Chelsea doing good or poorly in this window? Like, what's the general feeling amongst you rivals with Chelsea and their approach to this window?
I like some of the signings. It's just some of the.
I want to see what Colin has to say.
I think Sterling's a fantastic signing. Sterling is a brilliant signing for the price you've got him, and you're taking one of Manchester City's better attackers from them. You know, I'll rate that. Thank you, even though I hate Sterling, but thank you for potentially.
Jordan's going to say that because George is going to say that because we don't have Pep as manager, the transition to Chelsea is going to be slower, so he's not going to be able to adapt to Chelsea.
No, well, I was going to say along those lines that
every signing.
No, because you have to. We do have to be honest here. Pep's system has benefited Sterling massively. I'm not going to say it's a bad signing. It's still a good signing. He's still a proven goal scorer. But it has been shown that he only scores at a high level when he's doing the little backstick passes, the backstick tap-ins from KDB. He's not going to be a guy.
I disagree. I disagree with that fully. I'll give you stats. I'll give you stats upon stats.
Wait, just give me a second. Let me finish the point, and then you can give me your stat. I'm not going to dispute and say it's a bad signing, he's a bad player, anything like that. He's still a good player, still a good signing. But I just don't think that he's going to be the player to come and take Chelsea's attack that's had so many problems over the last year to the next level. He's not going to be the guy to come in and start to fix the issues because Thomas Tuchel has had those problems since he's come in. It's not been fixed, and he's not the guy to make it any better.
Bro, the amount of disrespect on Sterling's name is unbelievable, you know? Unbelievable. And I don't care if he played for City. This guy is a talent at the end of the day. And I feel like he's professional enough as well. All the stuff he's handled over the years, as well with the media and everything. There's a lot of disrespect on his name and his ability at football at that, yeah. Why I have to say, yeah, Sterling performs better. And you know, big up Daps because he highlighted himself a Man City fan as well, yeah. Sterling plays better when he's got a number 9 next to him. That's when you see his stats come in. Do you know what I mean? When there's someone to occupy the space in the middle of the in the box where he can, you know, go missing. Like obviously defender's eye can't really see him, and then he comes in at the back post and yes, does one of his tappings respectfully. But I think it's a nah. You know what? I'm not gonna do no shameless things. A big signing for Chelsea, and I don't think it's gonna hurt City too much. I just feel like this Tottenham Chelsea thing's going on, man. You just want it to fail. You want it to fail.
This is a final point. Do you know what I find so disrespectful from George? Do you know what I find so egregious and so disappointing? Is that Conte has literally spent like his whole entire time bringing players from the Serie A into this team to build his identity, and the audacity for George to say, we're bringing Koulibaly, who is the best centre-back in the Serie A. He's coming to a league, it's much slower. He's not going to be able to adapt.
I never said he's not going to be able to adapt. I said he's going to get skinned. I said he's going to struggle. He's 31 years old. He's past it.
Come on, man.
31. You've just signed. You lot got on
You've just signed Terrace.
And you were so happy that he supposedly chose Tottenham over Chelsea.
That's what I was saying in the group chat about the banter, right? Man United will get slagged off for like, why are you trying to build an identity? And then people celebrate their own clubs trying to build an identity. I cooked Daniel once for this when he's sitting there saying Lewandowski should win the Ballon d'Or because of all the goals he scored. And then when Man United signed a player from the Bundesliga, goes, yeah, but he got to minus his goals because the Bundesliga tax. It's like then Lewandowski can't be the best player in the world because his league goals don't count. That's the problem with the banter. You always end up, you all act like have hope. Do you know what I mean? It's crazy out here. It's crazy. But look, I want to speak Raheem Sterling for a minute. I agree with you completely, Kaz. The geezer is probably the most him and Michael Carrick are the two most underrated and disrespected Premier League football players in the history of the Premier League. Now, some people will say madness. Pogba got more abuse. Yeah, but Pogba was also loved by a group of people at the same time. Those two players have won almost, there's only a handful that have won more than them in England. They've been more successful and more consistent than 95% of other players in their position in the history of the Premier League. And there's almost no excitement about them. Raheem Sterling, I've said it before, pound for pound, game for game, will score and create more goals collectively for Chelsea than Eden Hazard did. I'm not saying he's better than Eden Hazard. I'm not saying he runs better, dribbles better, has better technique. He'll be more productive. He's that good. The fact that Chelsea fans aren't absolutely buzzing about this is beyond me. If we got told we were signing Raheem Sterling, I wouldn't care about barring Jadon Sancho, I'd sell any of our attackers for Raheem Sterling tomorrow. The geezer is absolute dynamite. And on Koulibaly, yeah, I'd definitely swap him for Maguire, like 100%. Like, there's no problem. But George, is managers are key, because managers are massively key. And you know this, because 12 months ago, no one in this country was asking for Eric Dyer to be back in the England squad. 6 months with Antonio Conte, and everybody was screaming and crying that Maguire wasn't dropped and he wasn't in the team. Spurs fans have stopped calling for him to be sold, and you guys were asking for him to be sold 2, 3, 4 years running.
You're right about that.
Chelsea fans didn't rate Antonio Rudiger that highly until Thomas Tuchel arrived, and then he turned it into one of the best centre-backs in the world. So, of course, there'll be moments of Kimpembe and Koulibaly that you could pull up and say, look how bad they were. I remember all the compilations of all the mistakes that Van Dijk had made at Southampton before he joined Liverpool. But you put a player in the right system with a world-class manager in a club that works hard. And listen, no wonder defenders are always getting exposed at PSG. That team don't work. Do you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't judge anyone, manager or player, for their lifetime at PSG. I know I banter Messi because that's just my agenda with Ronaldo, but I think Chelsea are doing bits this summer, and I think people should be very scared of what they're going to end up with by the end of this window, especially with Todd B, because that guy's he's a nice way. He's a nutcase. He's a nutter. But I like watching it. He's just going around Europe by himself, it looks, in a private jet, trying to buy everyone. It's like, you ever seen that footage of Michael Jackson when he used to go shopping? I'll have that. I'll have 2 of them. How much that vase? 2 million. I'll have 3. That's Todd Bowley. He's just bowling around Europe trying to buy everyone. He's a crazy guy. He really, really is.
He's got no choice, though. They got no board or nothing like that. Did you get what I mean? The people remember this is not a Roman Abramovich era. He's trying to put his stamp. It's a new Chelsea. You get what I mean? And he's trying to get Tuchel who he wants. You can see that evidently. So, in respect to that, man, you know what? I wish we had some owners like that. Question.
Sorry, Terry, what mistakes did Virgil van Dijk make? Just go back and find the compilations. Like, I'm not going to tell you the exact teams. I just remember seeing the comps, and they were funny. I remember there was one that when Anthony Martial turned him inside out like an apple turnover, like lows like that. Listen, it's easy to do to a player. You download 5 or 6 mistakes, you put them together, you put clown music over the top, and everybody looks bad. Like, it's just standard, bro. Like, been around too long watching this stuff. Terry is reaching. If you don't believe me that people did it, you're actually not getting my point, my bro. People put those compilations together to make Van Dijk look bad. But look how good he was in a better system and team. We're going to pretend it didn't happen. You can pretend it didn't happen if you want, but I know it existed. It's there. It's on the internet. I want to stay in London, though, boys. I want to stay in London for a minute. Arsenal Football Club, of course, they called their interest on Yuri Tillemans, put all their eggs into the baskets of Lisandro Martinez and Rafinha. Now, those deals, unfortunately, brilliant, valiant effort from Arsenal. They went after two players that didn't want to play at their football clubs. And they know how...
Why are you giggling away? You're right there, mate. What are you giggling away for?
They haven't been successful. They're now looking at Zinchenko to come in. Personal terms are said to not be a problem. What are you saying, Coleill? Are you excited? You missed out on your number one target in Lisandro Martinez to come into your back line. Is Zinchenko a good alternative? Where's your head at with that?
I mean, we were linked with Zinchenko like even before the transfer window opened. To be honest, from an Arsenal perspective, in terms of what we need, in terms of being able to play a versatile player who can play at left back, potentially can come into defensive mid, worked with Arteta, it makes sense, right? It seems like a very smart signing for what Arsenal need. In terms of how this actually plays out in an actual Arteta system and how often he's going to play, because from an Arsenal fan perspective, if he's going to predominantly come in for to challenge Tierney for the left back position, he's going to be getting 50% of the games period because Tierney just can't keep himself fit. However, if Arteta has another view for him, because he is this versatile player, because I don't know what goes through that nutcase's head sometimes, he might put him through and get him to challenge, or it could also be that kind of, oh yeah, it's our left back and midfield kind of defensive signing that we also need. So I like the signing. I still think we need to see some more in those kind of defensive areas, especially if we're just utilizing him as overall defensive cover on that left side and as a defensive mid. But it's a good start. I'm not hating it. I'm not hating it. Why is your face like that?
Did you say defensive mid for Zinchenko?
I'm not saying he's a defensive midfielder. I'm saying he can't play there. But I'm saying
no, he can't.
He can, Kaz.
He's a centre mid. He can play centre mid. He's a centre mid, not a DM, bro. He's not a DM, man. He can play centre mid. He does it for Ukraine. I get it. And I wouldn't be surprised if my man said to him, Arteta said, you know what, I'm going to use you. I'm going to play in your preferred position in centre mid more than left back, if anything. But at the same time, it's a great... I'm not joking. It's better that you went for him rather than Martinez. I don't know why people think Martinez is a left back, honestly. But
I think it suits our needs better, to be honest with you. But I don't want to assess that signing until I see what we do in the overall midfield because of how versatile he is. And I don't really trust Edu and Arteta when it comes to the overall signings in terms of every single profile that we need or that we expect him to get done in this transfer window being done. But I agree. I think he's better for us than Martinez, but I still would have liked Martinez at the club. It's not because we're not going in for him anymore. We're like, oh, well, Zinchenko is better. I still would have wanted Martinez. He's still good. But like when I say centre DM, I'm saying like centre mid, CDM, it's because I know Arteta wants someone that versatile where he can plop them around everywhere. It doesn't mean that he's good there or it's an ideal position, but knowing this, we had Xhaka at left back. Like
you might have just started the Ukrainian Milner. You're just getting a Ukrainian Milner.
That's it. That's
like, do you know what's killing me about this though? Do you know what's killing me about this? Remember when we had that 2 or 3 years where everyone was saying, "Oh, Man City's B team could go and win the league." I think that's Arsenal's transfer policy. Let's go buy all their B team players now and see where it takes us. Like you've got Jesus, who was a backup striker in a team that didn't have a striker. I don't think he's going to work out very well. And Zinchenko, I don't see the point. Like, go out and get a left back because all you're going to run in with Zinchenko is you're now sitting there with Zinchenko. You're in the exact same situation we were in 2021, and this was the infamous depth charts with Liverpool. You sit there and you put one player in 3 different positions, and then it gets to a point in the season where you need them in 2 different positions at the same time because you've relied on them for 3 separate ones. If you get into a situation next year where Kieran Tierney's out injured and your centre mid's out injured, what do you do then? Because your backup left back's also your backup centre mid, so you're now weak in one position. If you're going to get Zinchenko, you have to get him for one position and one position only.
I agree with
that's
your sentence in terms of that. I still want to see what more comes in. That's hence why I said I still want to see some more midfield signings. However, your Jesus take, Tom, come on.
He was a backup striker for a team that didn't have a striker.
You want Tielemans?
Quality.
Do you know what? Wait, I just want to add on that. Yeah, Tom, I have to say you're wrong. Like every team needs a utility player, players that can play in 3 to 4 multiple positions. Yes, I do. If you pay 40+ million for him, then City are bending you guys over backwards, like, and that's crazy. You shouldn't be paying too much for him. But he's still a very good player, and he does specialize at left back. But he prefers to play upfield. He prefers. But Pep uses him as a left back because that's where his best position.
Wait, one second. Did you say bend over back 40 minutes for Zinchenko? A guy that's won 4 titles, bro, and probably played multiple times at left back. Bro, I don't get this. Look, I'm a United fan, innit? I don't want to come on a City defense or anything like that. But another player that's underrated is Zinchenko, bro. He's reliable. He's always fit. He gives his all. He actually, you know what? He actually said he wanted to stay and fight for his position at City, and he still comes out and says that today. Why would you not want a leader, a guy who's Ukraine's captain, in your team? That's another leader that Arsenal could do with in that back line. Someone's going to be vocal, someone that knows how to win. I think that, again, that's another. But you're right, though. Why would you not want a guy that can play multiple positions? They got enough centre mids. I'm sure they'll be all right. You're just hating. You need a centre mid, bro. You need Zinchenko.
I'm not touching Zinchenko with a 10-foot barge pole. Come off it.
Versatility is definitely important. I am starting to listen. I know how this has been spun in the media. Like that, you know, they wanted Martinez at left back, and every Ajax fan I've spoken to is like, I don't get why he was awful at left back. He was average at DM. Like, there's a couple of good games, but didn't do very well. One Ajax fan broke it down to me last night. He said he played a handful of games, got dropped at left back. They moved him into DM, played a handful of games, got dropped, then got moved into centre back, and it was like, oh God, look how good he is there. I get the versatility that he can cover in those positions every now and then. Same with Zinchenko. I think he could do a job for a few games in the middle, a job elsewhere, but he is a left back. You actually break down his career. In his entire career, he's played 25 games in midfield. In his entire career, he's 25 years of age. It's not a lot. It's not very much. So I think that, again, and if you drop 40-odd million on him, that's first team player, in my opinion. Grimaldo, you're looking at 7 million. I can see that as a backup. No one drops 40, 50, 60 million pound. And when people say backup, you're talking about someone that probably isn't good enough to make it into your first team. If you spend 40 million on him, he will oust. He's better than Kieran Tierney overall. And the biggest reason for him being better overall is that availability. Like, he's just fit. He's just plagiarizing Daniel there. Availability is the best ability. But it's true. I think it's a tremendous bit of business. And I'll tell you why it's a tremendous bit of business. For what supposedly, and I'm just going to go with the Arsenal fan theory that they were going to play Martinez at left back. I'm just going to go with that. I can't be bothered to fight back against it anymore. You're much better off with Zinchenko than you were Lisandro Martinez, because Lisandro Martinez isn't a very good left back. Like, this guy Zinchenko is. So you getting rejected by Martinez, it can end up working out better for you. I think it's a much better fit. If you actually look at the profile, the heat map, statistics, the positions that Zinchenko and Grimaldo take up compared to Lisandro, even when Lisandro is playing at left back, they're very different profiles of players. So I'm still intrigued about what Arsenal are going to do, especially as for the third time this summer, the story has emerged that Juve really want Gabriel. And that story doesn't seem to want to go away. And I messaged Miguel Delaney about his article, and I'm like, could this happen? He essentially said the player isn't like pushing to leave, but like Juve really want him and are prepared, I've read, to spend up to £50 million on him. Question for you, Coleill. If Juve put £50 million on the table, if you could get a very good replacement, should you accept that amount of money for Gabriel?
But then there's an if there. Do you know what I mean? If we get a really good replacement, obviously we have Saliba coming back, who's highly rated amongst, everyone who's watching the French league and amongst Arsenal fans. We've never actually seen him in the Prem, so I don't know how that would actually translate in the Premier League. So, but for me, maybe I have rose-tinted glasses on. I don't want Gabriel to go. And I wouldn't, if the player's not pushing for it, and it seems like we no longer need to do that kind of thing when you start selling first team players anymore. If we don't need the 50, unless we really need 50 mil, which it doesn't seem like we do. I don't see the point. We're still rebuilding. We're trying to grow this squad. We're trying to keep the same core group of players and build upon that. I personally don't want Gabriel to go. So for me, it's a no. It's like, who are we bringing in for that realistically in terms of our competitors and rivals around us? And with the players that we already got, you would think that if he was to go, Saliba automatically would come in, is what I would imagine. Then we're left with holding. So then it depends on whether Arteta is going to want someone to come straight into the team or to compete with Saliba or White. So for me, it doesn't make a lot of sense as to why. It's just it would be a money thing, or if the player wants to go.
George, I want to ask. I hear what you're saying now. I want to ask you this question: if Juve make an official approach, Allegri's their manager, right? I am right in thinking that.
Yeah.
Allegri is the manager. Di Maria just signed. Paul Pogba just rejoined. Do you think Gabriel's head could be turned by the size of Juventus, the players they've got, the position that they're in, or will he stick with, in your opinion, Arsenal and what they're trying to build and create there?
I can't lie. I actually think he will stay with Arsenal this time. Correct me if I'm wrong, Coleill. He was the first centre back that Arteta brought in, right? Gabriel. So he's sort of the start of the project of Arsenal. He was one of the first summer windows for them. And I feel like he's sort of started to settle in. Last season was probably his better season. He started to get a bit better. I personally don't rate him too highly as a centre back. For 50 million, I think that you should bite your hands off for him. But I think that he'll stay at Arsenal because he's starting to get a bit more comfortable.
Who do you rate?
I rate Saliba very highly. I think Saliba comes into that Arsenal back line, makes it better, and you won't see no difference with Gabriel not being there. You don't. The 50 million, yeah, you said you don't need it, and I get what you mean. If you want the depth and Arsenal need to be a better team, it's probably best to keep him around and have 3 good centre-backs rotating. But then also, on the other hand, you can bring the 50 million in and then go spend that again on another centre-back that could potentially be better. But if there's options out there is the real question. But I do think he stays.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting one for me. The fact that it's like the third time now this has come up. Juve clearly, but how are Juve doing in Italy? Because they're not the power they were like 4 or 5 years ago. Are they? They came 4th.
Yeah, but it was a close-ish race.
Chiesa was out for
it was close enough.
Season,
like, you know what I mean? And they're gonna challenge next season for the title, definitely. Obviously, Inter are still there, and then obviously AC Milan are still there. So they're not the powerhouse, but they're still like able to attract some of the best players.
Juventus is still Juventus at the end.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I get that. And listen, I just kind of, I think he's dedicated to Arsenal, and as Miguel Delaney said today, that he's not pushing for this move or anything. But the world can change when a club makes an official approach. It's almost, are you going to make me a main centre back? You're challenging for titles. You're in the Champions League. You've got the squad that you've got. It's just an intriguing one for me because Arsenal have again today been linked to a young centre back at RB Leipzig. His name now completely eludes me. Wow. And yeah, so I'm intrigued to see what's going on with that deal.
Going, bro.
They won about 80-90 million, bro. I don't think he's going nowhere this summer.
Really? No, he's gone. Terry, man, I have to disagree, man. I'm sorry, but Arsenal have been a selling club since 09-10, yeah? But the best thing is, then they're not in a position to be like, okay, you want to... And I disagree. I think Gabriel is a good defender. Actually, I think he's Arsenal's best defender as it goes. I think Ben White gets too much credit and doesn't get enough criticism because he's the one that's not worth 50 million. Gabriel, if they come in with a massive offer, Arsenal still got a month and a half. It looks like they can get transfers done quite quick. I'm sure they've got a little list saying, okay, if we need a centre-back, let's go for that guy. If they come, they don't need to sell him for 50 million. They could be like, well, we don't need to sell 80 million. He's yours. Take it or leave it. Simple as that. But I reckon his head is probably at Arsenal. But it's like you said, Terry, once money gets involved and once everything else comes involved, Juventus, the whole Champions League thing, the players, as you said as well, I'm going to be like, yeah, you know what? I wouldn't mind bouncing. Like, I've got Arteta as my manager, bro. Like,
you're talking... I did like the latter part of your sentence there, but see that dead banter we're talking about? You've got some cheek with that Norwich scarf in the background. We're going to bring
I'm so... Oh, she's got bite. She's got bite, yeah? Nah, man. Arteta's got it, bro. He's getting sacked, bro. The season he's done. But we'll talk then.
Story for another stream.
Arsenal's, what are we saying about Arsenal's window, though, people? Because again, they're linked to Paqueta. Obviously, there's this situation with Zinchenko. The Yuri Tillemans deal is the weirdest one of the summer for me. I just still can't fathom why they haven't sanctioned it with how good he is and the availability that he has. Do we
I'm
feel like? Sorry,
no, I'm intrigued. Like, it's the same thing. It's with everyone. Obviously, I don't think the word isn't worry, but you always want to see how things work out. Like, you know how last season everyone was making signings. We made Lukaku, a couple of other teams were making a couple of signings, and we were like, yeah, this is going to be the best title race we've seen since da-di-da-di-da, and then it never really works out that way. So I'm intrigued to see how Tottenham work out with Conte having a full season, obviously in the Champions League as well. So he's going to have to balance that. It's not just going to be a no European competition thing. They're going to be battling on all fronts. So how he utilizes the squad. With Arsenal as well, I'm intrigued. I think one thing that I rate, even though I'm not particularly worried about Arsenal in terms of what they can do as a whole, one thing I've rated is their recruitment. They've been consistent with it. They're hell-bent on buying young talent, players with energy, players who are exuberant, who are willing to play and fight for the manager. And look, there were points in the season where I thought Arsenal played really good bits of football as well. Obviously, the banner is that he's literally copying Pep and he's calling him up and borrowing his blueprint. But I mean, at the end of the day, if that's what works for you, that's what works for you, innit? But I'm intrigued, man. I want to see how it works. And obviously now they've got a striker, and obviously everyone's bantering Gabriel Jesus. Obviously, Tom, you don't really rate him like that, saying he's a backup for City. But I think, look, being a backup for City is there's no disrespect and no harm in that. He scored goals for City. He was able to get double-digit goals playing off the bench for City.
Not an issue being a backup for Manchester City. It's the fact he was a backup when they didn't have a striker. The man was benched.
No, but then he got moved to right wing and he started scoring goals from there. Do you know what I mean? So you just never know with these things. But yeah, like, I'm intrigued, man. The same with Man United. I'm intrigued to see how all these players, because I feel like every team, I mean, bar Liverpool, is buying a high number of players. But Liverpool's one, Tom, though. You don't need players, innit?
Don't get me started.
In Jones, we trust in midfield.
It's a great segue, though, because reported today, coming out of the Sports Witness, is that Liverpool have been negotiating with Ajax for Antony. And they've said in here that they also believe that although Ajax want 80 million euros, they believe Liverpool could get it down to between 65 and 70 million. What are you saying, Tom? You fancy a bit of Antony, or do you think this is talk to try and force Man United's hand? What are you saying?
I am not picky. I just need a backup for Mo Salah because right now we've got no one there. We're asking Mo Salah to play every single game again next year when that was his downfall this year. I just want a backup for him. It's been 3 years. Just get someone who can play right wing. Like, I haven't watched enough of Antony. I've got to be honest. I did not watch Ajax in the Champions League last year. So all I know is that he done bits against Borussia Dortmund once. That's about it. But it's gotten to the point. I just accept the recruitment policy. If they want Antony, go get Antony. I don't care about the price. I don't know what to expect from the rest of this window now because I did not expect us to start this window by paying £80 million for a striker, but we did. So your guess is as good as mine as to what we're doing. Would I like him? Yeah, but I'd like him just as much as I'd like Jared Bowen. I just need someone who's competent on that right wing to back up Mo Salah.
Do Liverpool need more, though, guys? I mean, Liverpool's only target is winning the league. Like, do you guys think that? I mean, a lot of top Reds, a lot of Liverpool fans are like, no, we've got these kids coming in. We've got academy players. Jurgen Klopp knows best. You know, I know you've signed 2 kids, but I'm not really counting them as new signings. Although I have seen some Liverpool fans say that, like, Carvalho is going to be Young Player of the Year. He's going to smash the Prem. Do Liverpool need more if they're going to win back this Premier League title?
Yeah,
Yes.
man. I think, look, you see what Chelsea are doing. They're going out there, they're spending their money, and they're trying to improve their team. Liverpool, their problem is that they want to win the league doing a shortcut, just signing, let's sign one big signing, make a few young players, and then we've got the players here that have done it for us all these years, so they're going to carry on doing it, which doesn't make sense. They're not looking to make their team better than Man City's. They're just looking to compete with Man City at the same level. And not being funny, Man City have made 3 massive signings. They're still looking to make another signing. they're moving. They're just making the gap wider and wider. Liverpool need to make signings, and Antony isn't the guy to come in and make Liverpool much better. I mean, he's a very good player, and I expect him in the future to be amazing. But right now, he can't come to their team and improve their attack. He wouldn't even start. He would barely get a minute on the pitch.
The Antony one just does confuse me a little bit, especially if we're giving Mo Salah 350 grand a week, and then you go and buy an 80 million pound player who would. There is with the difference is when you give someone 350 grand a week, they're week in week out starter. So I don't think Antony will come into Liverpool and accept being a bit part player behind him. It would be different if he was a left winger when there's a real chance you can rotate heavily with Diaz. That's not really going to happen with Salah. You'd be relying on a Salah injury. We do need a player though. We have been crying out for a right centre mid. I've tried to be. I have been positive. I've sat there and went, Harvey Elliott's got a lot to offer. Fabio Carvalho can give us something different. But my God, can we just go out and buy a right centre mid? It's been the one position that we've needed for 3 years now. Since Jordan Henderson in 2019 started this gradual decline after winning Player of the Year, we've needed a right centre mid. And it's only been heightened by the decline of Oxlade-Chamberlain, the unreliability of Naby Keita, the selling of Wijnaldum, even though he weren't a great right centre mid, the lack of development due to lack of game time from Jones. I get that the club wants Bellingham, and I'm all for Bellingham. And I'll sit here and I'll say, if Jurgen Klopp is fully in on this Bellingham train and he's happy to wait a year, go for it, wait a year. But I still have the same expectations that I do this year in terms of you've got to win a title. Because it's your choice to not sign someone else instead of him. There are players out there in the world who would come to Liverpool and could perform maybe not at the level that Klopp will expect from Bellingham, because he's clearly got something on Bellingham, but there's players that can come in and strengthen this team no end, because right central midfield is a massive... Central midfield overall is an issue, but right central midfield especially is a massive issue. We need midfield depth, and I'm happy for Elliott and Carvalho and Jones to get game time to develop, but that's only going to really work if City get major injuries or have a major crisis and fall apart, because I cannot expect Carvalho and Elliott to bridge the gap that City have created with Haaland. I can't expect that.
There's a comment here from Lewis that says, last season, Liverpool need more players. Liverpool won't finish top 4. Relax, people. These fans, these are just fans' opinions, not experts.
Well, so that makes him the expert because we're just fans and all that kind of stuff. So
the thing is, though, no one on this panel said Liverpool wouldn't make top 4 next year. What Jess said last year was if they have any major injuries with not buying anymore, they might struggle. So you're actually taking that out of context. Do Liverpool fans watching think without any more signings, you can win the Premier League over City, you can win the Champions League without improving the squad further? Like, that's a serious question. Like, standing still can mean you go backwards.
We can win the league, but it's very much a situation like 19. We can. This is very much like 1920 again.
Like the quadruple winner that you're gonna win every year, bro.
That's not what I've said. I've said it's like 1920 when the only reason, and I do stand by this. Yes, we got 99 points, but we were massively helped by the fact that Manchester City's 2 starting centre-backs were out from September till January. So they were playing Fernandinho and Otamendi at the back. We have first-hand experience of what it's like when you're bare bones at the back. I do not want to see Nat Phillips and Reece Williams at the back again. Tuesday was an eye-opener. That people need to look at that and be an eye-opener.
Oh, so it's not just... It's just... I thought it was just pre-season, but it's an eye-opener now. All right, cool.
Oh.
Honestly,
don't have it.
Honestly,
it's an interesting one. There's a super chat that came through I want to go to that said George Nicola, the same Brazilian journalist who broke the Jesus news, put the Antony news out 2 days ago, not Sports Witness. Well, I read it on Sport Witness's website. So, yeah, I'm just telling you where I saw it. But, yeah, obviously a credible journalist there. No doubt maybe that deal could happen. Mohammed here says, Tom, we need a lot of forwards. We need midfields. Viewers, let us know if you think whether Liverpool do need any more or any less. I just think you're right, Tom. I think they do. It's to win the league. And ironically, this is where Louis, who I respect, who watches the show a lot, is wrong. one of the biggest reasons that you guys caught City and had that great end to the season is one of the players that you guys labeled was Luis Diaz. So you adding Luis Diaz in January, which is
we had a lot of luck at the back end of last season. I'm not expecting to get 45 games out of Thiago next year. I didn't expect to get 45 games out of Thiago this year. I didn't expect to get 45 games out of Naby Keita. I'm not expecting to get that again. So we will run into an issue where Thiago, we are so much worse without Thiago on the pitch, and his replacement is Jordan Henderson.
Like I've got a counter argument on that though. I've got a counter argument that benefits probably a lot of teams is that there's a 5 substitution rule. So I think a lot of the players can get a lot more deserved rest for next season as well. So recovery time will be a lot easier for Liverpool. For me, people got to remember, you got your this is what Liverpool fans say, your generational talent, Harvey Elliott, is going to be your right winger for next season, boy. And that is what is going to happen. But
no one said Harvey Elliott's right.
Don't give me. I'll bring up receipts. I'll screenshot. Anyways, you got a lot of generational players. According to you lot, you got a lot of generational players. When the fact is, Liverpool have not brought in a good youngster since Trent, and before that was Gerrard. All right. So, anyways, long story short, what I'm trying to get at, you lot need midfielders. I don't know why. I think this Antony thing is PR, man. You need midfielders big time. And also, what I'm going to say about the league, Klopp might actually change the system next season. I'm going to say next week. He might actually go to a 4-2-3-1. I don't know how. You got to remember, you lost Mane, so you lost that aggression on the left wing. Jota, you got to remember, he came in firing, but then he faded out. Who knows if he's going to actually? He's a baller. Don't get me wrong, but there's a lot with Diaz that he might not be that Mane hit, And then you got to think up front, Nunes might not. There's always a might. Not saying, but we got to remember, Klopp is Klopp. He's a fantastic manager. And he's done a lot for football in terms of the pressing game and everything like that. So there's no disrespect on that. And he's still got a lot of the squad that they do have. So I don't doubt Liverpool are going to do well next season. But you can't deny the fact that you might try a new system out. Pep might try a new system out as well. You never know, because I feel like they're going for something new as well. The whole point of Cucurella, hold the width. It makes sense. He might be going back to what he used to do a couple seasons ago before it stopped. But yeah, man, I just remember, I don't know, man. I don't think you're quite there. But if you get Matheus Nunes, I swear I'll be scared.
I don't see the Matheus Nunes stuff. I really don't see the Matheus Nunes stuff.
Super chat here says Liverpool have Timo Diaz and Timo Nunes up front this season. I mean, Nunes has been getting a lot of stick for some of those misses in like warm-ups and stuff. Because some of them but do you know what's going to happen with him? He's going to be labeled how Lukaku was. Every mistake is going to be magnified. Clown music memes. Like rivals are coming for that player. Super chat here says Liverpool match City in attack and in defense, but the gap is in midfield is astronomical. KDB, Bernardo and Rodri versus Hendo, Jones and Ox and Keita is
what a stupid comparison. I'm sorry. Why are you comparing their first choice midfield to our 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th?
Well, we've got to look at their second choice midfield. Phillips.
Yeah, I'm not disputing their midfield's better.
Their second midfield is better than that second and first midfield, I think.
Yeah, it's not better than our first.
Yes, it is, bro.
Oh, come off it.
I'm telling you now, if you're going to give me Thiago, Fabinho, and whoever, I'm still going to take Phillips. Who's their second? Even if Foden goes there and somebody else, Gundogan, I'm having that.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am, bro. No, I'm not. I'm being dead serious. I'm being serious. I'm not joking. I'm being dead serious.
Look at this, man.
It's a good debate. It's a good debate. Let's go to some more of these super chats here. 8 appearances, no goals, 1 assist. Generational Harvey Elliott is Premier League stats. We've got to give him a little bit of leeway. Man literally broke his ankle like last season. Let's give him a little bit of time to recover there. This super chat says, Terry, why are Arsenal fans suddenly saying Martinez is not good enough and Zinchenko is the better player? 3 weeks ago, Martinez was world class. But that's what do. Arsenal got a habit of this though. Like they'll bid for a player first, they won't land the player, and then when they sign their secondary task, suddenly in the news. Because I wouldn't be surprised if Zinchenko happens to see one of the Arsenal tier ones throw in like a a little line in their article that says Zinchenko was always the #1 target. It will happen. And this is what's mad. I predict these things being said before they're written. They get written. I say I don't believe it. I think it's PR, and everyone's like, "Well, why can't it be real?" Well, because I said it was going to be. How do I know what our journalists are going to write? Happens.
Terry, you forgot the Arsenal pulled out of the Lisandro Martinez deal to focus on Zinchenko.
Yeah. The maddest thing is, I know about 6 people now that have different jobs at different football clubs, and they're in charge of communications, and they've literally told me this is what, again, a bit like my net spend issue. Professional people in the industry have said net spend doesn't work in the basic way that the newspaper speaks, so I don't touch it. Equally, communication officers and people that run the communications at football clubs quite literally say they do the PR. They write it for a reason. So that's why I think it's all PR. And I said the same thing. Man United, we didn't walk away from Darwin Núñez. We knew he was going to pick Liverpool. So we walked away with our leg between our tails, definitely. Comment here. Experienced Premier League proven Zinchenko is an easy decision. Multiple positions. Excellent business. It gets done. Little Scouse lad needs to go for a walk.
Did I say it wasn't excellent business? I just said your first choice left back can't be your backup centre mid, otherwise it'll cause issues. If your backup left back's your backup centre mid, sound. But if your first choice is backup for another position, and then they're required in both positions at once, that's where the issues arise.
I hear you. Bellingham will go to City when Mr. Gundogan runs out of contract. City is planning it in the dark. Which midfielder ever said no to Pep? He's the midfielder sensei.
Fred.
If Pep calls a midfielder, he says, Fred did say, I wish Fred didn't say yes. We didn't say no, but yeah, I hear you on that. Viewers, by the way, if we hit 1,000 likes while we're live, I will gift out 10 free memberships to you live on the air. So it's down to you guys to smash the like button if you want some free memberships on the Terrace.
I need to get in on this. Let me.
Liverpool, I already had that one. Sorry, I've already had that one. Have I had that one already? Yep. Sorry, I'll keep putting the same ones back up. I apologize. What's this one here? So this says, Terry, you were wrong. We wanted Martinez as a left back, hence why we want Zinchenko. Didn't rate Martinez anyway. Bro, people can think I'm wrong all they want. And I know the article said that. I've got a brain beyond an article, my guy. And the man's barely played there. He did a bad job in that position. So I don't care what the reasons are for buying him. He would have become one of Arsenal's main centre-backs. That was my original claim and point, and I stand by it. Equally, Man United might lose Ronaldo. But we're not looking at an out-and-out number 9 to replace him. There's more than one way to skin a cat. Like, just, they're not even the same profile of player. But I appreciate the super chat, my friend. Thank you. Big up United fans. He is talking pure sense. That's for you, Kaz.
Sure.
Aye, that £5 you spent, give me your PayPal. I'll give you £5 back. How about that? Just for that comment.
Just send it to the Terrace, bro. But thank you. It's all good. I ain't joking. Jules Koundé is going to Spurs. Can you guys see this happening? Spurs signing Jules Koundé under Chelsea's nose?
No, he plays on the right side, centre back, right?
Yeah,
There's no chance.
What do you mean? Romero can't go centre and then Koundé on the right, though. No,
I'd rather Dyer in the centre.
Also, it wouldn't be under our nose. We've actually turned away from that deal completely.
PR. In fairness, I agree with that one. That one is, if you look at the order of it, the man was in London saying, please sign me. It was a Marina signing. She got kicked out the football club. And then Chelsea haven't spoke to him once since. Like, that's real. Like, that's a legit one, to be fair. Terry's twerking for Chelsea again. That's what they're going to say. That's what they're going to say. Rodri is clear of Liverpool's midfield. And Phillips is overrated, is what KDB has got to say there. Phillips overrated. Next super chat here says, guys, thoughts on Zinchenko's personality? Personally, he's class. I kind of already answered that, I think, on the show, Francisco. Thank you very much for the super chat. 2020 here says, I'm not falling for this. Pep couldn't take anyone from Barca to Bayern, or Klopp couldn't either. Those clubs are harder to deal with. Ajax is easier to deal with, and Erik ten Hag is looking to get a fast start. Bruv, you're spot on. The banter's just the banter. You got to learn to take it on the chin. It is what it is. I struggle sometimes. I'm like, why are people saying this nonsense? Do you know? Equally, you've got Jose did it. Conte does it. Like, it's the way it is. Listen,
then again, though, what I will say though is that, like, and look, we have to just accept it in this new age of like social media that we're in terms of everyone focusing on everyone watching everyone's team. Like, I think Man United have opened themselves to like different levels of criticism if these signings don't hit the ground running, because they're going to be like, why is Ten Hag's players not able to adapt straight away? They should be the ones helping all the other players learn the system and whatnot. Also, you have players who, obviously there's Colts and every team has got it, but especially Man United with the Bruno situation, Martial FC and all of that. Think about it. Look at how it will look if Martial looks good under Ten Hag, but Bruno doesn't look good, or he stays the same as he's been. Like, it's just gonna be savage. Do you know what I mean? Especially if you're
not fair enough though, bro. But fair enough. Like, if you can't fit into a system, look. Apparently, the only teams that can have depth in this league is Liverpool and Man City, and nobody else. Arsenal not allowed it. Tottenham not allowed it. United definitely not allowed it. TalkSport are absolute maniacs for that. Yeah. Bro, if Bruno don't perform, he don't perform. Simple as that, though, man. It's fair enough, innit? Fair is square, in my opinion. And if you want to work hard, get your nut down, and then, go from there.
But why are we up for so much scrutiny from everybody if no one cares about us, boys?
That's what I'm saying. Hated, adored.
I do never see you lot on your TLs ever chatting about West Brom, chatting about Forest, chatting about maybe not Brighton. Like every now and then, maybe. But you guys ain't chatting about irrelevant teams. We know we're the biggest. But no, listen. We know the XP. What am I hearing? Thiago Silva, Koulibaly, and Kimpembe, a dodgy backline, best backline in Europe.
The thing is, what I find so funny, I find it funny that even Tom laughing at that, like, that is a world beater of a back line.
No, it's not though, bro.
It is.
No, it's not, bro. Is that when Varane? Guy George, I know you. Anyone can back me up. Did you watch France and was it? I think it's UEFA Nations. Basically, Varane before he came to Man United, was playing in a back three. It didn't work. It's going to be the same as Koulibaly in a back three. It just won't work, in my opinion.
Why?
Remember that.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I like to say that. I just feel like he's a back four defender. I feel like he's more suited to him. Akounde, back three defender for me, man.
Why is he a back three defender, though?
Because
why is Koundé a back three defender?
Mate, no, I think he can play the back four because he done very well with Diogo Carlos. So I can say that, but I feel like he'd be utilised best if he was in the back three. That's just my opinion. Because his pace, everything. It's like
a lot of the reasoning behind this is based on vibes and based on feelings and based on, let me be honest with you, what rival fans do and what George and yourself are doing right now is because you don't want it to work and because you know how good a player can become. One sec. Because you know how good a player that player can become, you need to dump on him a little bit more just to lay it off. Let your ego make sure that this player doesn't do that well. When United bought Varane, no one on this earth can tell me that they didn't think that he was going to hit the ground running, be an excellent signing. It was Nations League. He made a couple of mistakes here. He holds Sergio Ramos. Remember that we do this all the time so that we can just say, I told you so. We're in that I told you so business right now. I'm going out on a limb and saying that these players, Koulibaly and Kimpembe in particular, if those deals do happen, Koulibaly's obviously done, Romano's just tweeted that, but Kimpembe added to that. These are some of the best centre-backs in Europe, and obviously Tom is laughing, but Koulibaly walks into this league as a top 5 defender. And that's
you might be right about that, Daniel, but that lineup just looks like a FIFA lineup. There's another super chat that I just saw come through. Those defenders were all good 6 years ago, like a couple years ago. It would have been a great lineup.
Was the best centre back in Serie A?
Thiago Silva, wait.
Koulibaly was the best centre back in Serie A.
He wasn't. It was Bremer.
Yes,
no, if you look, who got the award, who got given the award, it was Bremer. Bremer was the best centre back in the Serie A.
That's not true. I'm not going to disrespect you because obviously I know you probably watch Serie A, so you're not making this opinion out of nowhere. But I promise you, the journalists, myself who watched it, other people who I talked to about Serie A, Koulibaly was the best centre back in Serie A. Guaranteed.
We don't need to dispute that. But again, in a back three, which he's not played in, and playing next to those specific players, Thiago Silva, whose legs he can't handle 2 games a week, and Kimpembe, who I believe has a bozo gene and will make a lot of mistakes. I just don't think it's going to work.
So this is the last question, as a final question. Why did Rudiger work in a back three, but Koulibaly wouldn't work in a back three?
Do you know what? Rudiger isn't... His main problem was his aggressiveness. He was over-aggressive at times. He'd jump on players and be a bit too rash in the challenge. And in a back four, that would drag him out of position. in a back three, he's allowed to be dragged out of position because there's always 2 centre backs behind him. So he's some of his
Facts.
some of his problems. Wait, Daniel, wait.
Okay,
Give me a
go
second.
on.
Some of his problems get masked. Though Rudiger looked a lot better under Tuchel, and Frank Lampard played into a lot of it that how bad he was. Rudiger was never a bad centre back. Frank Lampard made him look.
Oh,
worse
Rudiger was never a bad centre back. Okay, cool. So if you've made that point, why doesn't Kimpembe and Koulibaly work in the back three?
Kimpembe does. I
could
just don't
work.
think Koulibaly does.
Oh, why doesn't Koulibaly work though? I don't understand.
Having 2 of those together is the problem. That's my problem. Is having
Two
all
of
3 of
what?
them.
2 of those.
got-
I can't say
Yeah,
that.
who?
What? Because Koulibaly is not the defender you're implying that he is.
I think
Guys,
Tuchel would make it work though.
Let's move this on now. Zotta Stevens here says, I'm a Liverpool fan. He VVD was.
Let's move this on. I'm trying.
It's Chelsea to be fair.
VVD was there when we lost 7. Lost 7 to Villa. No, don't disrespect Koulibaly. Salah was stopped by him in the AFCON. That's true.
It's just not though, is it?
But it is.
They were playing target man football to Mo Salah.
What did Mo Salah do in that final?
Faced Egypt's best chance, which was an official miss. What do you expect, man? What do you expect them to do when they're lumping long balls up to them?
Put some respect on El Nenny's name. Yeah.
Thank you.
That's what we'll do.
No, I was
Is it true that? Sorry, guys. Is it true that PSG will keep Kimpembe at all costs? My understanding was it was PSG. They're open to selling him. It's Kimpembe right now. They're saying wants to stay, but we'll see how that one transpires. Sterling, aka. Sorry, not AK, I'm a dickhead. Sorry, Sterling Ake at Chelsea, Jesus Zinchenko at Arsenal. I can't care less about 4 overrated and finished players at Tim Pot little clubs. Is what that City fan has got to say. Raheem is a better signing than Jesus, Richarlison, Nunes. Koulibaly is a better CB than any CB Spurs ever. Well, probably not better than Sol Campbell, but Spurs fans don't like to rate him. As a Milan fan, he is one of the best centre backs. We know Koulibaly is great. Kaz is correct. City's second midfield can be our first. It's obvious we can't be in denial all the time. Tom, otherwise, what's the difference between us and Arsenal fans?
Block him now. Get out of here.
See, that there is good banter. Very well constructed, well written, with a punchline at the end. Excellent banter. Rodri is clear of Liverpool's midfield. I've already had that one. Phillips is overrated. Worth a super chat. That's cap. Arsenal fans are only circumspect. Does that mean like cautious or something? When we lose the target, no one suddenly says they aren't good enough after they foul. I've definitely seen some Arsenal fans do it. They don't all do it because Coleill hasn't done it, and Igal probably has. To be fair, Igal probably has. We need to go in for new wingers. Sterling and Jesus are 2 big losses. Pep needs to go for a winger. I've seen Serge Gnabry rumors.
City aren't done, in my opinion. I think they're gonna come out of nowhere with another crazy signing. I don't think this is them wrapping up and just letting these kind of players go. I think they're going to do something out of nowhere. I think something like that will happen. Maybe not.
I reckon Cole.
Like that.
Cole Palmer might get the nod for next season, maybe for that right wing, maybe like just the understudy of Mahrez. I think Gnabry might end up going Chelsea, maybe if Bayern doesn't sign it. Wait, if you don't sign a new contract,
Don't do that. He wouldn't do that.
How would you feel about that if he went to Chelsea?
Listen, I'm not even going to think about it because I hate this wicked relationship with transfers that Arsenal and Chelsea have. We always get their their players once they're coming towards the end of their careers, and they keep nicking. Like I remember when Fabregas went to Chelsea, I felt physically.
Arsene Wenger actually refused to sign.
Yeah, that's the maddest thing, bro. I remember that.
I felt physically sick, and Arsenal don't want Gnabry allegedly. So if another thing,
you need a right winger though.
But Coleill, don't you think though that like Gnabry played like what 10 games for Arsenal? Like that.
He's not an Arsenal player. He's not an Arsenal player.
Yeah, he's actually not. I think people overstate this. He's never gonna play for players stop supporting clubs once they become a
Oh,
professional.
100%. He
Just
could
to let you know that.
actually do. No, of course he can actually play for them. Me seeing him
Well,
in
fair enough. Fair enough.
Why?
Oh,
You didn't see him play for Arsenal. He played 18 games for Arsenal, but it's funny. It's a lesser extent, right? Because he's not as good a player as the guy I'm about to mention. But I saw some top red Man United fans the other day. So, Charlie Savage is only on tour because he's Robbie Savage's son. Robbie Savage never played a single game for us. He got released at like 16. I'm like, I know there are certain United fans, not top reds, the kind of hipster reds who kind of hate anything that is British, fair-haired, and connected to Man United. They've got a real issue with it. Do you know what I mean? If you've got a surname like Fletcher, if there's a Mac at the beginning of your name, like you're in trouble. You got
like McTominay. Say it, McTominay.
But not even McTominay. It could be like we could get linked to like the best sports scientist in the world. But oh my god, who is it? They read the name and it will say James McFadden. They're like, "Fuck you, you freckle-faced ginger prick." That's what they want to say. Like they hate it. But people are mad with this. Like Gnabry was never really an Arsenal player. He is a, you know what I mean? He did he not play more games for West Brom? No, didn't he? He only played he only played 3 times.
But don't you think it's because of the fact that Arsenal let him go and he's had such a good career? And if he comes back and he goes to blue side of London
and smashes it,
grinning there.
Enjoy.
You lot are just a banter club, bro.
Chelsea's new.
Sorry, Chelsea.
Banner club. You Arsenal are banner club, bro.
You have some cheap.
Adebayor goes to City. Adebayor goes to City, yeah. He starts sliding knees, and then he goes to Tottenham, and he still scores against you. Then we take your best striker, bro, and he does a madness to get in the league, yeah. Then Fabregas goes to Chelsea. Gnabry don't care about Arsenal. Get with it. No one cares about Arsenal. You know what? You're gonna target Gnabry, end up Reece Nelson. It don't matter, man. It's all right, man. Cry.
Do you know what?
Arteta's still in charge.
Kaz, the best thing about that rant is that you keep calling a woman bro. I love it. It's great. I love it. It reminds me of Top Boy season 1. Breaking news. Atletico, proper original one, Channel 4 one. You know what I mean? Even though the new one's great, by the way. Atletico Madrid and Bayern Munich are in the race to sign Ronaldo, according to ESPN. Interesting. Coleill is amazing, but she supports Arsenal, and that makes her undateable, is what Zayn Shah has got to say.
It's not Zayn, is it?
No, that Zayn, I don't know where that man's got. I reckon his mum found out she'd been using that credit card all them times because I used to be on no one's channel for time. Yeah, basically, he doesn't want to take you on a date because you're an Arsenal fan, Cole.
Mate, probably wouldn't even spit on him anyway, so it's all good.
I'm going to move on very quickly because I've got some bad jokes. I'm not going to mention them. Terry, do these guys watch other football leagues and international tournaments or just the EPL and Europe leagues? Koulibaly played in the back 2 and 3 for Senegal. Didn't read my previous super chat. I must have missed it. I'll hear it. I know. I don't know where the other one's gone. KJ's doing that for me backstage. What are you doing, KJ? You're missing them. Thank you, Josta Stevens. Kimpembe tribute to so many European comebacks. Contributes, you mean? I don't know if he does, but thank you for the super chat.
Like the one with United you're talking about? That one?
United, this season, Madrid.
Okay, so I read that as Koulibaly. That's my dyslexia. That was like, oh, yeah, I mean, there's a few. Guys, I've got a big question for you all, though. Very big question here. And the question is Stevie or Snoop? Is that Stevie Wonder who's lost weight or Snoop Dogg? I'm so confused who that is.
That's Snoop Dogg, bro.
So I know it's a joke. I just saw it and I just thought,
my God.
I got very scared. Stevie Wonder's my goat, and I'm like, is he ill? Is something wrong? And then I
need to have a little look at that again.
No, honestly, I looked at it and I'm like, is that Snoop Dogg or is that skinny Stevie Wonder?
I see where you're coming from.
That hair's gone. Snoop's hair's gone. He wears a wig in his music videos because he's no hair. If you need Snoop, if you are watching, my guy, and you need a good transplant, dude, let me know. I've got the best in the business. I think City and Liverpool ain't done yet. These two clubs get deals out of nowhere, unlike Man United. I won't be surprised if Liverpool does another big deal in midfield.
I will be.
Do Bellingham or Barella, please.
Can you imagine? People who are labeling Zinchenko and Jesus as City rejects should not forget that KDB and Salah were once Chelsea rejects. It's true. I mean, I don't think they're going to have the same impact as Salah and KDB have had, respectively, but it's a good point, my friend. Thank you for that super chat. And everyone who's tuned in, a massive thank you to all of you. Please make sure you smash the like button before you leave and subscribe to the Football Terrace. Terry, read the article from The Athletic about De Jong claims that Barca are forcing him out. Listen, been saying it for 6 weeks. Like, none of this is. I'm really sorry to rant. I'm sorry. None of what's being said now is new news. We are now hearing that they're going to be they're going to be nasty to him, not let him go on tour, sit him in a stand, whatever. But this narrative has been there the whole time. It's just been ignored by rival fans, and Man United fans do what so many people do now. They read the tweet, but they don't go and read the article. And they think they know the full story. Like, you have to read these articles. None of this should be shocking anybody. They don't want to keep him there anymore. Which is why it's always been weird when people have gone, why are United chasing him? He might be one of the other reports that come out today from Jack Tolbert is very good up and coming journalist. Him and a guy called Fraser Fletcher are going to be big in the next 3 or 4 years. There is also a clause that there is believed in the contract that says if the player asks to leave or agrees to leave before a settlement of the deferred wages is sorted, he forfeits it all. So of course he's going to stand there and say, I love this place and I want to stay. Like, makes sense. Like, obvious. But anyway, I digress. Until next time, my people. Listen, George, absolutely brilliant, mate. Kaz, well done on your debut. Little Tom doing his bits and bobs. Man like Danny and the magical Curtin were back. And the undateable Coleill, thank you very, very much. And you could go on that. You do well on that show, though. Definitely do well on that show.
I think I might be able to be all right on the undateables. I'll give it a crack.
You would do bits. Listen, people, until next time, take care. Goodbye.